Hey, welcome back. I'm so grateful to be here with you for another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. I feel like it's been a hot minute since I've connected in here with you. And it's not because I'm not going live or because I'm not producing content. I am. We've just been doing it over in another platform for something very special that we have coming up that's all around purpose. And that's what I really want to talk with you about today is aligning yourself with your higher self purpose and why that's so important, the significance of it. But first, before I do that, I would love to introduce you to this masterclass because it is going to be so powerful. We included with it a secret podcast called Aligned with Purpose. And anyone who registers for the masterclass gets access to that podcast. And then the masterclass is going to be this beautiful 5-day live experience all around aligning with your purpose, really tapping into your soul, higher frequency, higher energy, especially in times of change, which is what we're in right now. So I've dropped the link below. Make sure that you register for both of the things. Register for the masterclass, and then you'll get the podcast. And if you register for the podcast, you'll get the masterclass link. So you could do either one or both, and you're going to get all the things. But that's where we've been hanging out a lot lately and recording a lot of content in there because there's such a shakeup that's happening right now on the planet. I think many people are feeling it. I know I've been feeling it. And usually what happens anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks before a major life, earth, humanity rising change happens, I tend to get this major shakeup, shake up to wake up, as I call it, an internal readjustment where I really, and the one that this one's been about has been facing my work, what I'm up to on the planet, and this next level that's wanting to be birthed and getting a little bit more specific about the mission and the purpose, getting a little louder about the specificity of that purpose, and really bringing it to the planet in a new, fresh way that lands for me and aligned with my soul and lands for the people that are really asking for this support. And then sure enough, like clockwork, this started about 6 weeks ago for me as I'm recording this. And in the last week alone, I feel like we hit ahead. Last week, there was this major aha opening that arrived for me the day before the planet had this, awakening. I call it the spiritual revolution that's happening. I've been speaking about it a lot in Plug In and Power Up, my show that I have over on Facebook. And there's a spiritual revolution that's underway right now. And it happened with the assassination, the death, the loss of Charlie Kirk. Now, I wasn't really following his work too much before I knew of him. I really liked his energy. I liked his message. Yes, there were some things that I wasn't fully in agreement with, but I loved what he stood for. And I love what he brought forth in terms of clarity and conversation and openness and dialogue, because I believe we need more of that. There's something fundamental that we teach within Thrive Evolution that's all about conscious conversations, being willing to have those hard conversations that most shy away from. Because if we can't, then we're just hiding it. We're hiding it under the rug. We're throwing it behind our shoulders. It lands somewhere, but it doesn't ever go away. And what happens is whatever we don't resolve and speak about, it seethes, it sits in us and it stews in us. And then it creates this resentment. And that resentment often is the thing that creates conflict between people, which then creates conflict between nations and et cetera, go as far as you want with that. And so when that happened, it really created this spiritual revolution because all of a sudden there was a mass movement from a particular grouping of people, and they happened to be Christians that were leading this movement. Not that they planned on leading the movement, but they took the torch and they ran with it the moment that they watched him fall. A lot of people said, no way, this is not happening. We're going to pick up the baton. We're going to pick up the torch. We're going to keep the light lit and we're going to keep going. And so it was almost as though one fell and millions rose. And Gabriel and I have been having a lot of big conversations about this in terms of the consciousness that's elevating as a result of this. Whether you're Christian or not, if you look at just the fundamental teachings of Christianity, most of them are founded in Christ's consciousness, Christ's teachings, which are of love, which are of brotherhood and sisterhood, love, being in communion with a higher power, being in a higher level of consciousness, being willing to have conversations, being willing to live a good life, whatever that means, right? And really, really bringing in the energy of forgiveness. And so you don't have to be Christian. You don't have to necessarily like the Christian teachings. I like the Christian teachings. I was brought up Christian. And I've also studied many, 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 many other world religions and teachings. And so I'm like a little melting pot over here because I've got the Buddhism influence, I've got the Native American influence, I've got, so many. I could go on and on, but this isn't about that right now. I talked a lot about this in Plug In and Power Up. So if you want to catch that, make sure you pop over to Facebook within the next little bit before that episode disappears in their 30-day window of videos being up. So, but really what I wanted to bring forth is this rising of consciousness. When there's a rise in love, there's a rise in Christos energy, Christ consciousness energy. That's a rise in love. That's a rise in heart energy, which creates this higher conversation around spirituality and what is good for us and what's not good for us. And the simplest truth is this, I'm all about bringing forth the truth. The truth is confusion is not of the higher energy. That's not of your soul. That's not of Christ consciousness. That's not of God, whatever you believe in, source, creator. Confusion is something else. Confusion is of the ego or the shadow's domain. And confusion has been running this planet. That confusion creates divisiveness. It creates an offness within us. It has us questioning ourselves. When we question ourselves, yes, that can lead to greater awareness and opening and a further development in our consciousness, but it can also lead to further chaos. And that's what we've seen. We've witnessed that on the planet. Further chaos has ensued. Things weren't getting better. Things were going into further depths of chaos, which leads to the shadow. And so when we talk about rising consciousness, this is about elevating the conversation, ourselves, our energy, and the consciousness back into a state of love, compassion, harmony, peace, higher truth. And that's really what this is about. And when that spiritual revolution happened, and I'll talk more about this in other episodes, but when that started to really happen, especially over this last week, you're seeing a lot of people come back to simple truths, come back to maybe their foundations with the lived wisdom that they have. There's many people in our community who maybe started out in Catholicism or Christianity or maybe other religious contexts, and certain pieces didn't fit, certain pieces didn't align. And what happened is they started to search outward and went on a journey and went on an exploration to learn different things, to explore and experience different things and pull truth from all of those. And this is what I feel like our role for Gabriel and I and the Ascension Academy of Light is really going to be about creating not even a melting pot, but really this way that is you, not me, but you, and really holding the space for people to come in to say, I got a little bit of Christianity, I got a little bit of Buddhism, I got a little bit of the native medicine wheel, I got a little bit of Judaism, I got a little bit, whatever it is, that there's an accepted space for all of it as long as we are centered in a higher consciousness, a higher way of living, a higher truth, and love. Love and compassion being at the root of it. And being able to have conversations with all the different walks of faith and life, and knowing that it's all perfect. We're all painting a picture from a different color palette, and that's okay, right? But to be able to come together in a higher consciousness, I feel like is a bigger conversation that's happening right now, which I'm really excited about. The second thing that this has brought about is a questioning of our purpose. Why are we here? And it's so divinely timed because about 4 weeks ago, Gabriel Alexander and I sat down and we said this next theme, because we were thinking about what's our next theme in Thrive Evolution, because it changes every season. We have these 4 core pillars in Thrive Evolution: healing and inner alchemy. So being able to do our inner work and really walking people through healing all parts of their life. That stays pretty consistent. The only thing that changes every season within there would be, like this year, for example, was really about tapping into the pearl expression of your divinity, that there was and is this expression of your life and your body and your relationships that are very whole and very wholesome. And so we brought a lot of those teachings in this time. Then in Thrive, we go into manifestation mastery, co-creation mastery. This year, the theme was really focused around accessing that golden light, tapping into the golden frequency, becoming the gold dust. That was the theme that threaded through this co-creation, creation, and manifestation mastery section. Then we went into higher self and intuition mastery, which happens again every year. This has been consistent for the last 6 years now. This year, it was about perfecting the pearl. So really tapping into the pearl energy that sits and rests within our soul and tuning into those higher frequencies and tuning into our intuition and really being able to see into the pearl and create from that pearl, create from the higher vision that our soul is holding for us. And then as we were getting ready to come into this last season and cycle of Thrive Evolution, we sat and we felt and we talked about it and we tuned in. And there have been many different iterations in this fourth section because it's all about spiritual mastery. And one year we talked about purpose, but from a very different perspective than what we are in this next round. One year we talked about the dimensions of reality. One year we talked about the Thrive paradigm. That was last year, the Thrive paradigm. One year we spoke into more around the different spiritual energies and influence that we have around us and how to master those. This year, when we tuned in, we all got the same message. We have to speak into embodying purpose. Many people know their purpose, but they're not embodying it. They don't know how. They're confused. They're lost. They feel at a wit's end. They feel frustrated. They feel like, when's it ever going to be time? I feel like I've been doing this thing already. Why hasn't it come to fruition as yet? So really moving through and clearing out all of that crunchiness first so that we can then embody, truly live and create in alignment with our soul purpose. Other people are sitting in a second zone of, well, I've known my purpose, I've been living my purpose, but I just had a major shakeup that's now woken up other parts of me. And I don't even know if I want to keep doing that other thing anymore. And I'm sitting in this in-between space of, I have no freaking clue what that's going to look like now. And then that's creating a feeling of pressure and overwhelm and uncertainty and confusion. And then people are starting to revert back to what was, which may not be exactly what is supposed to be on the highest level. And then we have a third camp. And that third camp is, I've been living my purpose. I've been feeling like there's a change coming. I'm ready to up-level my purpose. I kind of know what that's going to look like, and yet I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I kind of know what that's going to be, and yet I'm not sure if I have everything that I need to do that. I'm a little bit afraid. I've been used to this old identity. I've been used to this old way of doing things. I've got this new idea in mind, but it's scary to take that leap and to refine or to change or to shift or to completely take that away and move into this new thing altogether. That's scary. And so this whole conversation around really accessing, well, first it's clearing. We got to clean house. The second thing we need to do then is access from a soul's perspective. What is this newfound purpose? What is this new layer? That's what I keep seeing in my mind. And we're going to keep expanding upon this conversation of the pearl because the pearl has many layers. There's a depth to the pearl. It's not just what we see on the outside. It's also what's on the inside. And so this journey that we're moving into is really going into the pearl and letting the pearl reveal the next layer of our purpose based on our soul. And then really expressing it and experiencing it and grounding it. And so it's so perfectly timed with what I see happening in the world right now. We couldn't have planned this any better. This was a complete drop down from the divine itself to say, you need to speak about purpose. There's a lot of people that are going through a shake up to wake up and they don't know what the heck they're doing and what's next and what they're supposed to be focused on or what this new path is going to be. And there's a fire that's being lit within many people right now that they're feeling reinvigorated and they're like, holy cow, I'm ready to go. I'm lit. I am so ready for this next part of my journey. And I need some support in doing it. I need some support and clarity to navigate this entire thing because there's a lot. And there's a lot that I'm feeling and there's a lot that I'm moving through. There's a lot. I keep hearing this from people, right? And so the timing of this is so perfect because we're all being repositioned right now to really realign ourselves in this spiritual revolution time period, to realign ourselves with our soul and our higher self, to commune and converse with our higher self and our soul, to receive the guidance from there that then allows us to rebirth ourselves and our purpose and our mission and have this fire that's being lit within us to also support this mission so that we can really do this now. And so if you're curious, and again, you want to come and join us in this masterclass, it's going to be really powerful. It's a 5-day masterclass. It's free. We don't hold anything back. And then we're going to give you lots of tools, lots of things to get going. And then if you want to continue the journey and work with us, you can. You can always come into Thrive. This is going to be a really powerful season of Thrive. You're going to see a lot of people get lit, even in our light leadership, because it's going to follow the same course from a different perspective, though. We're really going to start looking at our greater leadership as a whole. What are we leading as a mission? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that look like for our family and running a business? And that I don't have to sacrifice myself. I don't have to sacrifice my family. I don't have to sacrifice being a mama in order to also have my purpose run forward and go forward. There gets to be this honoring system. And so that's really the conversation we're going to be having in Light Leadership. So if either of those speak to you as well, reach out to us, because we're going to be opening registration after that masterclass. We're going to have some great bonuses available for you all as well. We always do a really great introduction rate that if you want to come in during that time period, a launch rate, come in during that time period. If you want to jump in now, we will honor that for you as well. So just reach out to us. I'll post the link as well so that you can register for the masterclass. But this is going to be a really powerful conversation. I think one that I'm ready for, the world is ready for. And I feel like if there was ever a time for us to really do this now, where the light gets to come up, where the light gets to win, quotation marks, where our consciousness gets to elevate up to a whole new level, we're in it right now. This is what we came here for. And I'm really excited because many of us are already starting to see, this is what I came here for. This is a big part of what I signed up for and coming into this life, this time period, this body, this soul, this awareness. And so if you're ready to really up-level that, I invite you to come and join us in the masterclass. If you want to take that next step, join us in Thrive Evolution or Light Leadership. If you're a leader and business owner and you have a mission and purpose on your heart that's bigger than our individual self, Light Leadership would be the place to be. I'm excited. I'm excited for where we're going. And I'm excited for everyone to really start living and being as their higher self. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness, yeah.
Woo!
Woo!